From how the original Bird Box managed to be such a success because of its originality, to how difficult it's going to be to replicate the same idea in an interesting way, here's why Bird Box Barcelona will be terrible. Remember what made the original Bird Box so gripping and unique? The movie took us on a wild journey with its never-told-before premise, a world plagued by unseen creatures that drive people to madness and eventual suicide if they lay eyes on them. It was a race against time as Sandra Bullock's character fought to survive, while blindfolded. The tension was palpable and kept viewers on the edge of their seats throughout the film. What's interesting is that the movie was a bust among critics, but a huge streaming success. Probably because it's a horror movie with a premise that no other horror movie has really followed before, kinda like what A Quiet Place did with the no speaking thing. Bird Box took a unique spin on the horror genre, which is saturated with cheap jump scares and other cliches. Plus, there was a lot of hype. I think it had a lot to do with Sandra Bullock being in it, but even other than that, there's a lot more to the secret behind this blockbuster's unprecedented success. Do you remember all the memes that were going viral about shots from the movie? They literally flooded the internet as soon as the movie was up on Netflix, and no one was safe from them. I challenge you to find one meme account that didn't post at least one Bird Box meme. But how did this help the movie? Well, anyone who hadn't seen the movie got serious FOMO and logged into Netflix to watch it, so they could be in on the joke. The effect spiraled on until pretty much everyone had watched it. People even started coming up with some conspiracy theories, which honestly seems a little crazy now, about how Netflix orchestrated the whole thing by paying meme accounts and influencers to post those kinds of memes to give a bit of a push to the success of the movie. Obviously, they denied these claims, but if they really did have a hand in all of it, I've got to give them props. They're marketing geniuses in that case. After the massive success of the first one, we've got Bird Box Barcelona on the horizon. While the original was set in post-apocalyptic America, the sequel's going to be taking us to vibrant Barcelona. But like its predecessor, Bird Box Barcelona is also going to be all about how humanity's left devastated after the takeover of the planet by these mysterious creatures that kill you in the worst ways. As we saw in the first part, sometimes actual people can end up being more dangerous than anything unknown. So maybe this part is going to be dealing a bit more with that aspect. Obviously, there will be monsters, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they go about the same story in a different location. It'll also be interesting to see the magnitude of the destruction the creatures brought with them outside of America. The trailer gave us a peek into what we're in for, and to no one's surprise, it started with bodies falling from the sky and people crowding into buses for safety. It brought back a familiar sense of unease, and from what I saw in the trailer, Bird Box Barcelona is going to follow whole new characters and their plan of survival in a world torn apart by a mysterious force trying to kill them all. You've got actors like Mario Casas and Alejandra Howard playing the father-daughter duo leading the story. With their blindfolds on, it's hard to know who they can trust. And the trailer also reveals that there are some people who refuse to wear blindfolds because they're in awe of the monsters and they want others to join them. Is it possible that they might have teamed up with the creatures, or is this a new cult? These events are all happening at the same time as the events from the first movie, but there's no overlap between the stories. It's more like a Spanish spin-off of the first movie that has a few ties to the overarching story, but not to the characters from the original film. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'm not sure yet, but hey, at least the direction looks better. There's still a lot of potential for it to go wrong though, and since the trailer came out, it's already been getting a lot of hate from fans online who think it's the exact same idea in a different place. Where's the lie? It seems like the majority of the audience is unimpressed by the teaser trailer, with many criticizing the first movie too. People have been saying that the first one wasn't good enough to warrant a sequel, with some calling it the most hyped mid-movie. Many others feel like the idea of a spin-off seems forced and 4 years too late. There's a big misconception going around about how the movie's a sequel, and it's not. Either way, I don't think it helps that the trailer doesn't make the premise feel any different. But it makes sense for Netflix to want to bring back a franchise, since it helped the platform so much in terms of streaming numbers. But what they're forgetting is that the first one was an unexpected hit. There's really no guarantee the second one will perform the same way. I think enough time has passed to just admit it. The first one really wasn't all that good, and I'm not alone in thinking that. There's a whole bunch of people online who think so. Sure, it was unique, but unique doesn't necessarily mean good. The dynamic between the characters was bad, and there were so many plot holes that any casual watcher could have noticed without even trying. Like when Mallory and the kids are on the river, and a man tries to trick them into taking their blindfolds off. How was he talking so normally if he was clearly one of the infected? Also, how can weird creatures charge a car by making contact with it, but can't touch the people at certain points in the movie? Also, if the creatures can't actually touch the people, then what's the point of them running in a panic when they really aren't even in any kind of trouble? I'll give them this. Not showing the creatures was a great move. It's one of the best things they can do when it comes to a horror movie, because it really builds suspense. But they should have shown them at least once. We didn't get a big reveal at any point, except for those drawings, which don't count. I'll admit that the creators kept tensions in the story high enough for viewers to stay hooked, but again, that doesn't make for a good movie. I'd say that it was such a success because of all the memes that came out of it, making people watch it because they didn't want to miss out on the fun. That kind of virality isn't easy to replicate, because it's been done once. So it's going to be extremely difficult to do again, especially without Sandra Bullock. She was one of the main reasons most people watched Bird Box in the first place. No offense to any of the actors involved in the movie, but the cast for Bird Box Barcelona isn't going to garner a whole lot of attention. A Quiet Place Part 2 was one sequel that did justice to the franchise. But then again, that was because the first one was fantastic. It proved to be the perfect sequel for fans of the OG movie, all while being a great introduction for new viewers, who may not have watched the first part. So how did they make that happen? They didn't just use the same formula for different characters, they followed up on the previous part and added to the story that had come before. With Bird Box Barcelona, they can't just make the exact same movie, in a different place and with different actors, and expect it to be a hit. Right now it feels like that's all we're getting from Bird Box Barcelona, and there's nothing in the trailer that suggests otherwise. So if the first movie is anything to go by, it doesn't feel like it's going to be good news. But you never know, maybe the new backdrop's going to add some unpredictability to it, so fingers crossed. So there you have it, from how difficult it's going to be to replicate the same idea in an interesting way, to how the original Bird Box managed to be such a success because of its originality. That's why Bird Box Barcelona will be terrible.